Hello and welcome to this new video tutorial of Magento 2 Multi-Vendor Marketplace user account plugin. And in today's video tutorial, we'll be showing you how the sellers would be able to create their sub-accounts for themselves and how they can select the various permissions for sub-account users, such as allowing to view the products, manage their profile, product, etc. Also, these permissions help the sellers to divide the roles and responsibilities within the other sub account users. For example, a seller can add agent or the users to view orders and products only, while another can manage the seller profile. So let's get ahead and let's see how this can be done. So for that, be taking you to the seller front first, and we'll be logging into our seller account. We'll be creating the sub accounts, and then we'll be showing you how the sub users would be able to access their account, and lastly how to set up the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace vendor user account plugin itself. So now let's go to the admin, let's go to the seller end. So for that, I'll just take you to the web store front end first. So right now I'm at the Magento multi-vendor marketplace by web pool store front end, as you can see. So we'll be logging into our seller account panel by entering the seller's username, password, and tapping here on the login button. And after login, on the left hand side you can see the marketplace panel is there for the seller, and here the sellers would find the option that's the manage sub accounts here, as you can see. So I'll just tap on that, and basically under this section the sellers would be able to add new sub accounts and can view and manage the already created sub accounts as well. So let me scroll down a bit. So you can see that I've already created two sub accounts, and from the actions column we can delete any of the created sub accounts. To add a new one, we can tap here on the add new sub account. Apart from that, we can also filter the sub accounts using the ID, account since, from, and to dates, the name, email address, and the status active or not. To add a new sub account, we'll just tap here on the add new sub account button, and that brings up the new account for the seller to create a new sub account. So you can see that we're on the new sub account section. So here the seller would be able to enter the first and the last name of the sub account user, his email address, and after that the seller would be able to select the allowed permissions for this particular sub account that the seller is going to create. So from here the sellers can choose multiple permissions. For example, they can view the dashboard, manage profile, create configurable products. They cannot manage products because I've not chosen that. They can manage the orders, they can check the earnings, and they can also manage the transaction if I choose. You can choose all of these options. Otherwise, you can also choose the permissions that you only want to provide to this particular sub seller there. Apart from that, you can also set the status of this particular sub account as enabled or disabled. To enable, make it as yes. To deactivate, choose no for the sub account that the seller is going to create. And after creating this particular sub account, an email is sent out to the respective sub account user, and on the email address that the admin has entered here. And from there, the sub account user can tap on the link provided there, and thereafter they'll be navigated to the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace web store, wherein they'll be able to log in, and they can then change the passwords as well. So for an example, let's type in test, the last name as test last name, the email address, let's set it as this one, the allowed permissions, manage profile, manage products, view products, and manage orders. Active, yes. And then let me tap here on the save sub account button. So if you want to reset it, you can tap here on the reset to reset the fields that you've already entered, but I've just tapped on the save sub account, so the account would first be created, and after creating, you can see that we have a success message that the sub account has been created successfully. And from here we can also change the respective options. We can add or remove the permissions as well, and we can change the email address or the first and the last name. So the reset works like that. If I tap here on the reset, then all of these fields would be removed while I'm about to create a new sub account for the seller. So that was how the sub accounts can be created by the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace by uh, Webcool's plugin. That's for the user account, multi-vendor user account for the sellers, sub accounts basically. So this was how the sellers can do it. Now let's log into the sub account of the users that the sellers have created. So whenever a new sub account is created, the user receives an email wherein the user clicks on the link in the mail and they are redirected to a page where they can set their passwords. And after they've set their passwords, the users can log into their accounts, and once logged in to their accounts will display only those web store functionalities which have been assigned by the sellers. And then according to the allowed permissions, the account users can manage the store as per the assigned roles and responsibilities by the seller by navigating to these functionalities under the side hand marketplace block. So let's check that, and apart from that we'll also be showing you how the separate vendor panel view is there that looks like just the admins, and how these permissions get visible on the separate vendor panel section. But before that, let's go to the sub account, and we'll be logging into the seller sub account that we have just created. So let me show you the email that I've just received. So this is the email, and to sign into the site as a sub user and to set a password, I just need to tap here on this particular link. So I'll just copy this particular link, and I'll go to the front end and let me log out from the seller account, and then I'll be signing in. So before signing in, I'll just basically add this particular link URL, and I'll just tap the enter button thereafter. And now let's see what different page comes up. So here we are on the set a new password section for the sub account users. Now let me enter the password for this particular user. So I'll just set it as okay, and then I'll be confirming the new password once again, and then just tap here on the set a new password, and thereafter we'll be logged into the seller's sub account for the sub user account. And you can see that we have updated our password, and now I'll just log into my sub account. So for that, I'll just enter my details and my password, and I'll tap here on the login button thereafter. So this was the mail after the sub account has been created for the seller's sub user. We went to this particular link, we set our password, and thereafter we entered our username and password to log into our sub user account. So I'm really sorry for this. Let me once again enter my details. Maybe I've tapped something wrong there. Okay, alright, my email address was wrong there. So I'll just enter my password, and I'll tap here on the login button, and now you can see that I've logged into my sub account. That's the test last name that we just created. Here is the email address that we used, and here we have the customer account options, and at the top we have the seller profile to manage the seller profile, new products, add new products, my product list, my order history. So these were the permissions that we had given to this particular sub account user that we were going to create under the seller account panel initially. So if I open these tabs, we can see that we can work on these sections. So let's go through each of them one by one. So the very first one was the seller profile, and the sub user can edit the seller's profile as well. As you can see, we have all the details here for the seller that can be edited by the sub user as well. And the sub user can also add the products within the marketplace. As you can see here, from here, after choosing his attribute set, he can proceed further to add the products. Then the other permission was to check the product list. So here we are on the product list, and from here the sellers would be able to make or manage the products as well. And lastly, we have provided the order history section. So here's the my order history section that can be checked by the what we say as the sub users. They can view the orders as well and the other things there. So this was how the sub users can access their account and how they can check their or what we say as the permissions provided to their particular uh, accounts. Now let me change the separate vendor panel view to the separate vendor panel view, and this just completely looks like the admins. And now let's after the panel gets up and running here, we'll just check the different functionalities or the options available under the separate vendor panel view. So this is the separate vendor panel view that is just like the marketplace admins or the default admin there. So here you can see that the respective seller can view the orders directly under this section. Then he can go to the products to add the products and can check my product list as well. Apart from that, he can go to the settings and can manage the seller's profile settings as well. So this was how the seller can view the options under his separate vendor panel view as well. That is available for the multi-vendor marketplace by WebGoal for the Magento 2 platform itself. So that feature is in their multi-vendor marketplace. And now let's go to the admin backend panel and let's see how the admin can initially configure this particular plugin before using it there. So let me cross out these two sections and let me go to the backend panel now. So I'll be logging into my admin panel by entering my username password for the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace system there, and I'll log into my admin backend panel for my marketplace web store basically. So after login, so after the successful installation of this particular plugin, that's the Magento 2 multi-vendor sub user account plugin, the admin needs to first make the initial configuration settings that are required before making use of this particular plugin itself. So for that, we'll just be navigating through the side panel from stores, and then we'll be tapping here on the configuration option under the settings, and that would take us to the configuration settings page. And there, and on the configuration page on the left hand side under the WebGoal block, we have the seller sub account settings, and here we have two different sections to configure. One is the general settings, and then we have the sub account permissions. So under the general settings, we can enable this particular functionality so that the sellers would be able to manage their sub accounts or to create their accounts. So for that, to allow them, you need to choose a yes. Otherwise, to disable that, just choose a no for that. Then we have the sub account permissions. So from here, the admin can choose the account permissions from the account permission from the account option list that the seller would be able to provide the access for his sub sellers. So accordingly, you can provide the different sub account permissions. So you can choose all of them so that all of the account permissions are visible to the seller, and from them from the listed one, the seller can choose the ones that he wants to assign to his particular sub account there. Thereafter, you just need to tap here on the save button, and we are done with the initial configuration settings. And after we are done with the configuration settings, now let's see how we'll be able to with the seller sub accounts. So for that, we'll just navigate through marketplace management, and we'll navigate to the manage seller option, and here the admin can view the sub accounts of a particular seller by just clicking on the manage link under the sub accounts. So from here we can choose any of the sellers, and from the column for the sub account that's in the last, we can tap here on the manage one. So let me tap here on the manage link under the sub accounts, and this basically brings up to the seller's sub account page, and here the admin can find all of the sub accounts for this particular seller. So here we have the one that we have created and the two that were already there, and we can see the permissions to each of the sub user accounts that the sellers of the marketplace have created under their own account panel. Now let's tap here on the edit button and edit link basically under the actions column. So the admin can edit the sub account users as well. So the admin can see the edit sub account section, as you can see right now, and from here the admin can manage the sub account as required. You can change the name, last name, email, add more permissions, and can make the sub account as enabled or disabled, active or deactive, by choosing a yes or a no as required. And that was how the admin can view the sellers sub accounts that the sellers have created under the own account panel, and how the admin can edit any of the sub accounts. Now I'm on back on the section that's the seller sub accounts. So you need to navigate to marketplace management, then the manage seller, and under the actions column just tap on the manage link that we have, and that brings up this section. So I showed you how we can edit any of the sub accounts for the respective seller that the admin is right now managing. So to add a new sub account here, just tap on the add new sub account button on the top right hand corner, and this can be done by the marketplace admin itself as well. So to add a new sub account, the admin can enter the first name, last name, email address of the sub account user, the allowed permissions, and can make his account as active or deactive by choosing a yes or a no. And thereafter the admin just needs to tap here on the save button to create a new sub account. Now after this sub account has been created, how we can manage the sub account users? So for that we'll navigate through customers and then all customers. So this is how we can manage the sub account users that the marketplace admin for the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace has created. And on the customers section here we can see the complete list of the customers, and here the admin can see the sub account users that would be under the sub account group basically. So I just need to enable the column for the group, and let me move out. So here we have the different groups for the customers. Majority of them are for the general, and here you can see that we have 3 under the group, that's the sub account users, 1, 2 and 3. And that's how after the admin has created the sub account users, the admin can see the particular sub account users so as to manage them. So to manage them, the admin can tap here on the actions drop down, and from here the admin can edit any of the sub users which are the customers that have been created by the sellers under their own account panel. And so let me choose this particular sub account user, and from the actions let me tap here on the edit link. Okay, that's bringing the quick edit. Now let me tap here on the edit link under the actions column at the last, and the admin will be redirected to the edit page, and the page that would come up would basically be against any of the customers there. So whichever customer you have tapped for. So you can see the name of the sub account user that we had created, and here you can see the account locked information, or the personal information is there. The group is account, creation date, account created in the store view where the account was created, confirmed email address, and apart from that basically the admin can view the other details as well. And for this sub account user as well, the admin can reset the password, can make a forced sign in into it, and can check the account information and the rest of the details as well. So that was much about the Magento 2 multi-vendor marketplace user account plugin, and I hope it helped you out in understanding the flow. If you have any questions, queries, suggestions or requirements, you can always get back to us at support@webquill.com, or you may raise a ticket at webquill.uvdesk.com. Thanks for watching this particular video, and have a great day.